Before I get into my review, I just want to say that if you like this game, that is okay. And if you don't like this game, that is also okay. Everybody is entitled to their own opinions. So with that being said, please be respectful to each other in the comments down below and enjoy the video. What happened to AAA gaming? Remember back in the day when you would purchase a game and you actually felt like you were getting a complete product? Well, you can throw that out the window because I'm on the edge of just being done with pre-ordering video games. The Callisto Protocol is a game that I was really looking forward to. It was one of my most anticipated games of the year. I bought the deluxe edition, I stayed up all day waiting for the game to release, and I even messed up my YouTube upload schedule just so I could play this game. And what was I left with? A buggy, unoptimized, not scary, season pass locked behind a paywall, clunky and frustratingly annoying combat video game. Welcome to the state of gaming in 2022. So jumping into the Callisto Protocol, let me first talk about what I like. The graphics, amazing. The visuals in this game are some of the best I've ever seen in a modern AAA video game. The audio, the sound design, the music, oh my god, just all of those together, just chef's kiss. I think this game has a really good intro sequence. It's a little confusing just like trying to follow the story, but the intro is really good. Your ship gets boarded, you crash, you end up in a prison, you wake up and everything turns into chaos. I mean, it's a pretty chaotic intro and I really like it. The voice acting is really good. The animation's top tier. And believe it or not, I actually do like the combat in this game. But at the same time, the combat is really bad, and I'll explain later why. So what are the cons? Why do I not like this game? Why does Rapid Crafter not like the Callisto Protocol? Their first problem with the game is on PC, on Steam, it didn't even launch at the time it was supposed to launch. The game was supposed to release on Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it didn't release until 9:15. Now look, that's not the biggest deal. Oh, it's only 15 minutes later, but still, I mean, when you're expecting a game to release at a particular time, you expect it to release at that time. Oh, but that's not all. But what's AAA gaming without performance issues? The optimization and performance on PC is some of the worst I've ever seen in a video game. This makes Battlefield 2042, this makes Cyberpunk 2077 look like masterpieces compared to this. The frame lag is ridiculous, and I know what console players are gonna say, just play on console, bro, why are you playing on PC? If you're the type of person who's like, PC's better or console's better, again, you look like this. Surprisingly, I don't not like this game because of the FPS issues. The problems start to come in the actual game itself, the actual gameplay, the atmosphere, the environments. The game is simply not scary. You go down a corridor, enemies jump out, you fight them, you move on to the next area. Enemies jump out, you fight them, you move on to the next area. Cutscene, enemies jump out, you fight them, you move on to the next area. Cutscene, enemies jump out, you move on to the next area. And I do like how in this game, it's mostly focused on melee combat. I just find the game a little too easy in a lot of ways. It just feels like every time I run into an enemy, there's always something in the environment that allows me to easily kill that enemy. Like for example, I'll walk and then an enemy jumps out and there just happens to be a spiked wall on the wall. Like it's just conveniently like placed there. Like it's just such a random spot. It almost feels like in a lot of ways the game is kind of hand-holding you, like, oh look, you see this giant spiked wall where you can throw an enemy into it? Yeah, you should definitely use this. It never felt like I had to think. It never felt like I had to, you know, innovate and really come up with new strategies to take down enemies. I also feel like the stealth is very undercooked. I almost never use the stealth because the game almost never allows me to use it. 90% of the game, enemies are jumping out at you. Eventually, you run into these blind enemies and you're able to use stealth against them, But the problem is these enemies are too easy to take down. So when you get to this point of the game, it's just like a cakewalk. Like the game just becomes extremely easy. So I happen to be one of the people that bought the $80 deluxe edition, which includes new skins, new game modes, new game plus, as well as story DLC. Now that sounds amazing, right? For 20 bucks. Whoa, that's a lot of content for 20 bucks. I think it's worth it. Well, what's crazy is none of this season pass content arrives until next year. Now, some people are mad that the content is locked behind a paywall, and supposedly they're adding new death animations in the season pass. So my problem isn't the fact that I'm paying for a season pass. I'm actually okay with that. It's just the fact that none of this content was ready for launch. I mean, seriously, New Game Plus is not ready on launch? Oh my god, bro. But that's not even the worst of it. The worst part about this game is the combat. Hey, if you guys are new to this channel, the Rapid Crafter channel, feel free to subscribe, because on this channel, when you ask for quality content, I try to give you that. Unlike the Callisto Protocol devs, where we're asking for a good AAA horror game and we didn't get that. So the combat, Rapid Crafter, what's so bad with the combat? The reason why earlier I said the combat was good and then I said it was bad is for two reasons. First reason is I think the combat itself is actually really good. It's super polished. I really like the combat animations. I think it's really well done. The problem is the combat was made for 1 versus 1s or 1 versus 2s. The combat was not made for 10 different enemies to be thrown at you at once. Because when you're in combat, you're locked against one enemy. You go into this stance and you're kind of locked in this little animation. Now, that doesn't sound that bad when you're fighting one enemy or 2 enemies. It becomes a problem when you end up in sequences where there's like 7 different enemies surrounding you, and while I'm trying to move out of the way, the enemy swings at me. So instead of moving out the way, my character is dodging, so the entire time I just keep getting hit when I'm really trying to move out the way. It's not that the combat is bad, it's just it's like the combat contradicts itself. The combat is good, but it's not good when there's like 4 or 5 enemies being thrown at you at once. A lot of people are saying, oh, the combat's perfect, it's amazing. I don't know what people are talking about. I agree. I think the combat is really good. I mean, some of the death animations and just the combat itself, it feels really good. It feels like The Last of Us. But it becomes extremely frustrating when there's multiple enemies being thrown at you because there is no lock on like Dark Souls. There is no way to evade out of the area. You're stuck in that animation. It becomes extremely clunky and extremely frustrating, and this is only on normal difficulty. I can't even imagine playing this on the hardest difficulty. At the time of recording this video, the game has mixed reviews. It originally had mostly negative, but they have put out a couple patches, so it seems like the game is a little bit better. Someone said the stutter protocol. It's 50-50 really. I just think it pretty much misses everything it attempts to be, and all mechanics and aspects should have more improvements. Graphics are stunning, performance is terrible, optimization is terrible, gameplay is meh, story is pretty bad and cliche. These I all agree with. Graphics are absolutely amazing. The performance, like I said, is garbage. The story is almost like non-existent. I mean, there's a story, but like it's not important. And the gameplay is just kind of okay. But this is like the weirdest game I've ever played. And again, it's not terrible, but it's not great. It's just kind of in the middle for me. It definitely misses the mark and it's just not scary. But that is my review on the Callisto Protocol. I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you guys think about this game? But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time.